We're on.
Go ahead. We're live.
It's me and you, Bree, today.
It's just you and me, Arlette.
It's just me and you. Okay. All right. So this is Arlette. My background is in psychology. I'm a mindset coach as well as a parent coach. And this is our podcast, Women in Wisdom. Usually we are more than two coaches, but today it's just me and Bree. So, and we are going to talk about the feminine energy that we said from our last podcast. Kamila already announced that we're going to talk about the feminine energy because International Women's Day is coming. So we thought we will do like a podcast dedicated to women and feminine energy. We don't know where this conversation is going to take place. We haven't prepared for it. There's nothing to prepare for it. We never prepared for any of the podcasts anyway. We just meet and come up with a topic and we just go ahead. So I'm sure we're going to have a nice conversation with Bree now. And if there are any, because we are streaming live, and if there is anybody out there that is watching us, that wants to interact with us, that wants to send their comments, we would love to get all your comments, even if you're watching the replay. So this is Bree. Bree, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Thanks, Arlette. I'm Bree Dellerson. I'm in the U.S. I'm in Florida. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. We got lots of dogs here.
No
I'm a
problem.
clairvoyant and a sound healer. And oh, there it goes. I'm going to turn it over to you while the barking's going.
Okay, sounds good. So Bree has how many dogs? I know you're muted. Your babies, dog
We have
babies.
we have 8 dogs in the house. 6 are my mother's, and they're all rescue. She used to foster, and I have 2, which were actually born in our house that were fostered
Wow.
by my mother. Yeah,
So
yeah.
your babies are your dogs. This is amazing. I know how attached you are, but since we're talking about the feminine energy, and I'm looking at Bree, and I'm seeing that Bree has already a 6 plus 2. Your parents' dogs. Already have 8 dogs that you take care of, and you also say that they are my babies. So this means to me that it's the nurturing side, which is your feminine energy, that is fully activated when you are caring for your dogs, and when you are taking care of them, is like feeding them and showing them a lot of love, and also getting a lot of love back. So in a way it ties to what we're talking about, because we're talking about the feminine energy here. And what would the world be without the gentleness of the feminine energy? This is something that I've been talking about it a lot this weekend when I was away with my friends, and we were talking about with my female friends mainly, and we were talking about how in recent years they really had to do things. They had to go to do things, like maybe they were on survival mode. They knew they had to sort out, organize their lives, and so in the doing things. So while they were in the doing things and they were on their masculine energy, when you're doing things, your own masculine energy, and it's very easy to fall in the trap of ignoring your feminine energy, which is really your your strength, your nurturing side, your gentleness that you bring in to this world. And when we are only doing things, because when we're only then we're tapping only into our masculine energy. And if there is no balance with the feminine energy, you kind of lose some parts of yourself. So these are the kind of discussions I was having with my friends during this weekend. But Brie, what does the feminine energy need to be
What does it
fully
need?
active?
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
What?
like that's a huge question. What does it need? I mean, I think it really depends on the person. I would always take it back to the body. If someone, if you came to me, Arlette, And I was trying to, and I was helping to guide you into that place where you're caring for yourself and nurturing yourself and loving for yourself. I think that takes a receptivity and a different type of listening to the body, because I also, if we're going to look at, the difference between the masculine and the feminine, and we need both, and we all have both. It's just what, the balance between the two. I think we're all conditioned to have our experience be outwardly directed, and we're gauging, we're putting our sorry, I can hear things next door. We're listening more towards the outer world, where our senses are all directed outwardly. And so I think cultivating that feminine energy, I always invite people to go inwards. I feel like, for me, when I think of, there's so many different ways we can define anything as masculine and feminine and keep breaking it down and breaking it down. But to access that feminine energy within you, it takes a different type of listening to what your body needs in the moment. So, Arlette, can we just, for an example, like if you're always thinking and you're always trying to plan things and you're always trying to, design things, I think that's still more intellectual, and I would classify that as a more masculine energy. But when we listen to the intelligence of the body, for me, that's more of a feminine state. It's interesting because I don't really put too much focus on one or the other. I always try to seek a balance between the two. And I find that the more that we're so disconnected from that body, from the intelligence, from who we are, maybe that feminine nature, because the feminine is receptive, it's deep, it's creative, it's intuitive, it's beneath the surface, right? It's not necessarily seen so much, but I think, miss out on the power of that depth of who we are. And the way to connect with that is by deep listening to ourselves. And the first thing that I would probably suggest is, what does your body need? Like, what does your body need? Are you giving it the right food? Are you giving yourself enough rest? Are you giving yourself enough space? Are you taking time for yourself? Or are you constantly pushing past the boundaries of yourself and then depleting the feminine? And we're rooted in the blood, Chinese medicine. We look at everything from a yin and yang issue, and masculine and feminine qualify as that, and the blood and the women and our cycles and our movement with the moon, and there's just so much. And I feel like I'm not sure I answered your question with all the distractions going on today.
I know. Tell me about distractions today. It's interesting what you're saying, because it's interesting what you're saying, because we all have a masculine and feminine energy in us. We all know it, and we tap into it naturally, depending on what we're doing. We tap into our masculine energy when we need to feel, safe or protected, or we need to do something, and we're tapping more into our feminine energy when you feel like, you are the nurturer, you are the giver, you are you're the gentleness side of things. I'm not saying that the masculine energy is any uh, different, but I was talking to someone this weekend. She was a 65-year-old woman, and we were talking about this topic, and we were talking about the differences between masculine energy and the feminine energy. What do they need to be fully activated, because I really believe that your femininity is fully activated also by your surroundings, who you're hanging out with, how things are happening, how safe you feel, emotionally, or physically also, but also emotionally, how safe you feel, and how much that is activated. For me, I also see it when it depends on circumstances and what I am and what I'm dealing with and who I am with, and that part of me is activated naturally, and which I identify more with my feminine energy than with my masculine energy. But with my masculine energy, it's also automatic when I really feel like I really have to do something. Um,
Yeah.
like protect myself or do something and get on that rhythm of doing something and all that. And I was talking to this lady, as I said, 65-year-old, very nice woman, this weekend, and she was telling me, we were talking about the differences, and she was telling me that she feels more connected with her masculine energy, and she likes it more, what that her masculine energy gives to her, which is all about power, control, doing things, complete independence and all that, and she feels much much more connected to that side of her. So, and then my question is that this is her element, this is where she feels at home, with when she's more connected with the masculine energy. And then I was telling her, is it that, or you are afraid to tap into your feminine energy? Because getting more in touch with your feminine energy, it means that you need to release a lot of things to really tap into your fire. You need to release, for example, the need to control, the need for power, the need for equality with people or with men, that we're equal, and we're, there's this constant battle of showing, like proving that I can do it. This is a man's world, and I have to, so not everybody is willing or is happy to have a different type of mindset. I mean, there is no wrong or right. It's just that it creates an imbalance in us sometimes, and we don't even realize it.
I think you said a lot of really important things. The power thing is something that I've explored for probably the last 10 years for myself. Because I learned that as we enter every decade, it has a different theme for us. And it's like a overarching breath that we have. Like 20s, we go out into the world, 30s, we come in, 40s, we go out, and 40s are when we step into our personal power. So when I entered into my 40s, I was like waiting to experience this power that I was supposed to be. And I was like, where is this power? Where is this power? And I had an idea of what that looked like. But my experience and the way that it was starting to kind of grow and evolve within me was very different. And so I think we have an idea of what power is and we equate it with masculine, but there's a feminine power as well. And it's very unique to each person. And what I found as that power started to grow within me was it was very quiet. And it was almost overwhelming and frightful, because I felt there was so much power. And I think as women, just, in our ancestral lines, in our other lifetimes and whatever experiences we have, that we've persecuted for our power in the past, Salem witch trials, and, think of just history in general and all these lifetimes that we've lived as a soul. And so we've kind of suppressed that power. And so when I started to feel that, it was very quiet, and I had to go slowly with it, because I felt like it would overtake me, and it would just, it could be destructive, but it wasn't. It's actually super creative. And because we've suppressed our power for so long, we don't know how to cultivate this energy and move with it. And it actually teaches us, and if we allow it to. We need both. I wouldn't say focus on one and neglect the other, because I found that over these years, cultivating that inner power, I need the masculine, because you're talking about safety. And that's where healthy boundaries come in. And that, for me, healthy boundaries are this perfect balance between the masculine and feminine. So when your masculine is out there fortifying your space, your energetic environment and the world around you, you can rest and relax and be at ease and comfort in your own body. You can live as yourself authentically. There's a deep innate sense of trust that you have in life itself, and you're connected with the rhythms of nature. And so we do need both. When we're only focused on this, we're not accessing our true power. So I would even, venture to say that our power lies in the balance between the two, not just in one. when we can, and it goes for everybody. We each have different spectrums of that within ourselves. But that power, now that it's been within me and I've been, paying attention to it and cultivating it, I feel more at ease being myself. I feel confident in what I do in the world. And I know that I'm here to take care of myself. I know that I'm capable of taking care of myself and honoring my needs. I think as women too, sometimes, we talked about in the beginning, taking care of others, and we forget about ourselves. But that if we tap into that power, we understand that taking care of ourselves is taking care of others, because that way we have a full cup to draw on. We're not draining ourselves. We understand the rejuvenation that happens in the feminine power. We understand we're connected with, the unseen world. Our intuitive abilities are heightened and enhanced. Yeah. So I don't think we can talk about one without talking about both. We can't really separate them. We need them to work together.
Yeah, I love what you said, and I totally agree with you. And the way you articulate things is just amazing for me. The way you communicate and express. Yeah, I think we need both. It's what you said. The key word that you said is balance. I think we need balance in both sides of a balance, and like everything else, when there is a balance, it really works. When there is an imbalance, it doesn't really work. And then you see it in your life, you pay for it. Something is bound to fail, something is, it's like that. Bree, since International Women's Day is coming, it's in March, and I just wanted to ask you, what are the strengths of women, the real strengths of women?
I can't speak to that.
You spoke a lot, but I'm like
I
throwing
spoke to
over
the strength of like this woman.
this woman. Okay.
I think, I think both have their beauty, and I really don't want to make a distinction between one or the other. I find that in today's culture, it's so divisive. And when we talk about, women and then men, and then, I want to really find a place where we can come together and honor the beauty of being human, and the nuances and the subtleties and the brilliance and the intelligence of that, because we are all of that. I find that when I understand, the intention behind it, but I find that it creates a wider divide. And so I don't really give much credence to these kinds of events personally. But I do feel like if you find yourself choosing one side and honoring one side and neglecting another, you're neglecting a part of yourself, because you are all of that. We are one being. We are an expression of one energy, of one source, of one intelligence. And so, celebrating Women's Day, I think it's just, I would celebrate your beautiful, who you are, what makes you unique, rather than what makes you,
What's
um,
the
huh?
person. I like
Yeah.
what you said. It's not, it's like, I also have this thing about these big things about men, women, divisions. This is how we are. This is, I also don't like getting into, great answer, by the way, you have from, hello, Akil, Rana. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. So I also like, I like what you're saying about these divisions, and men, women, this is how we are, this is how, I never get into these types of conversations or these types of battles either. I'm not competing with men, or men competing. It's not a it's what you said, it's a union of what flows naturally as human beings, and what we bring together, because yes, we are different in the sense that a lot of things are different, the way men function, the way women function, the way what the feminine energy needs or what the masculine energy needs, it's true. But at the end of the day, these are not the kind of things we should be focusing on. It's how the union, and what the union brings forward, because it's such a beautiful union when it's really into balance.
Mhm.
And that union into balance is also what we feel inside. with our masculine and feminine energies. It's just the union, that like there's no the division. It's all in the flow of where it should flow
Yeah,
naturally.
and I think that's a healthy ecosystem internally and externally because, from a Chinese medicine standpoint, and you look at the health of the yin and the yang of the body, which is holistic and mirrors the yin and yang of the world around you. And we are that, we are those elements, we are those, that same energy. Yes, it is that union and the way that they each have their specific qualities, but they work brilliantly together and they create health and vibrancy and
Yeah,
sustainability, and everyone thrives. So
yeah.
what we're witnessing, if we focus too much on one or the other, we're going to have an
Other,
imbalance one way or the other. We really want to focus on cultivating our unique self,
mhm.
and thriving in our own lives, being that role model and that reflection for other people to say, yes, this is possible. When you honor yourself, then I think we'll have the society I think that we're seeking to create together.
Yeah, absolutely. We need each other. Both parts of ourselves need each other. In the physical and reality, we need each other. And what we want to bring forward is balance,
Yeah,
balance in everything, for things to blossom, for things to flow in the right. When there is balance, everything flows. Everything seems to flow.
yeah.
So that's it for today. Bree, you want to say something before we say goodbye and we meet again next week?
No, I want to thank you, Arlette, for bringing this topic up. It isn't something that I spend honestly a lot of time thinking about. I have periodically, but for me, it's about connecting to the power that resides within me and how that's expressed, and that when I'm relying on the external too much, I lose a sense of self. So I think that if we're going to label feminine in that way, it's really for me a very uh, aligned sense of self.
Sacred. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's aligned. It's an aligned place in us. Yeah, I exactly feel like that too. So thank you all once again. Share, subscribe, like, comment, get in touch with us. We have our description in our YouTube channel. If you want to get in touch with us to discuss anything, if there are any topics that you would wish for us to cover, please let us know. We usually go live on YouTube on Mondays at 3 o'clock Eastern European time. And in the States, what's your time, Bree? Now?
Uh,
9?
it's 8:30 right now.
8:30 in the morning. So we hope we hear from you. All the best to everyone. Lots of love and see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.